Hey everybody, welcome to the Blue Collar Beer Gentleman. I'm Topher and I started this channel because I'm a fan of craft beer, but I'm also on a limited budget. So I'm constantly trying to find the best values on good quality beers. Today's selection I paid $3.67 for. It's a pint can of the Remember Me double IPA from Stillwater Artisanal Brewing. They are a contract brewery out of Brooklyn. They don't have the most user-friendly website. I went to the website. Trying to you can read the story about the guy who's creating the beer, and um, I myself have had actually a total of four different beers from this brewer, um, 3.56 with the average score of what I've given. Um, but it's the guy who's brewing. He's got a sort of a different approach to brewing and blah blah blah, and trying to find this specific beer on the website, I was not able to. The beers are not listed in alphabetical order. It's kind of it's not the friendly, and like I said, it's not the most user-friendly website. However, it has gotten very high marks amongst the reviewing community. Seven of my friends on Untapped have given this a collective score of 4.29. Got a total of 2,994 check-ins on Untapped with an cumulative score of 4.08. Beer Advocate has had 92 rankings with an average score of 4.2. The overall score is 92, which on their ranking is outstanding. So there you have it. It's gotten very high marks. Most of the time, the beers from Stillwater Artisanal usually do get very high marks. I will say that I do know that much about this contract brewer. And as you can see, this couldn't be a more simple or plain can design. I mean, honestly, this is aluminum, and then we've got this over here. It does have an 8% ABV as a double IPA. Typically, American double or imperial IPAs have an 7.5 to 10% ABV. So it's actually on the lower end of that. I don't have an IBU count for you. It wasn't available on the can, and sometimes it's available at Untapped, and yet it's not available there either. So don't have an IBU count. So not much more to say about this. I don't have a brewed on date. I don't have a packaged on date. There's not a whole lot to tell you about the guy. Like I said, he's a contract brewer using 12% distribution, um, and 12% is they seem to be if you're a gypsy brewer on the East Coast, 12% seems to be the distributor for you. So um, maybe I'll have to do a little more research about that. It all seems to be very East Coast related. I naturally I'm more the San Diego crowd because I'm in Las Vegas. So anyway, I'm gonna crack this bad boy open. Gonna start drinking it. Gonna be using my Belgian glass. This is the preferred glass for any imperial of any variety, whether it's an imperial IPA, imperial stout, imperial saison, imperial pilsner even. Try to use a Belgian glass. If you don't have a Belgian glass, use a pint glass. I firmly believe if you did nothing but bought yourself a proper pint glass with a rounded bottom, you'd be drinking you'd be drinking beer out of the proper glassware. Okay. What you are seeing is actually okay, there we go. If I bring it in that close, you're seeing almost the same shade as the beer itself. Not quite, but yeah, about there if I get just the right lighting. That's about the same. No, it's coming through on the camera about the same color as the beer, which is sort of a carroty golden yellow. And that head is thin, but it's also not going anywhere. I don't see too much in the way of bubble popping. Let me give this a quick beard wipe, see what I encounter. A lot of citrus, a lot of citrus. I think this actually may have even said okay, double dry hopped with Citra and Nelson Sauvin hops. So not surprised at all that I'm getting a lot of citrus notes on this, or that Citra was one of the primary hops used for this. Just take my schnoz and see what else I can encounter. Just a lot of citrus, a little bit of honey actually smell to it, and some of the alcohol vapors are coming through on the bouquet. So I'm gonna go ahead and start drinking some beer. Cheers. Okay, first impressions. I'm gonna describe that as a medium mouthfeel. Um, that is a really interesting, actually, it's a very interesting mouthfeel. Feels very substantial. Feels Sometimes I say that a beer feels chewy. This doesn't feel chewy, yet it feels like if I drank a, you could drink this in lieu of breakfast is what I'm is what it, how it feels. It feels very substantial. There's a very substantial sort of feel to it. That's not what I'd go so far as to call sweet. It's not. I wouldn't go so far as to call it bitter. It's a very complex flavor. Very complex flavor. Uh, it's he's definitely used the hop and not just extrapolated the bitterness out of it, and that's what I really enjoy when I've got an IPA where somebody has said yes, the primary characteristic of hops is bitterness, but what else could be gained from what other flavors could we gain from those hops? And this is definitely somebody who has taken really gotten to know the hops, know what flavors they can do, how to get those flavors out of it, and has put it to use. This is a stellar beer, guys. It really, really is. I can see why it's getting such high marks amongst the reviewing community. Um, I think this beer deserves a 4.5. The fact that it came in a can means it's going to get that extra 0.25. So when I go to plug it into Untappd, it's actually going to get a 4.75. You know, I hate to admit it, guys. As I said, I paid $3.67 for this pint can, which is a hell of a deal for a good beer, and particularly this quality of beer. Um, I hate to admit it, but lately, you know, I've had the opportunity to get some higher end IPAs, the kind of IPAs that normally go for around anywhere from six to like $13, and that's what this is. This is exactly the kind of a can of beer that would probably cost you somewhere in the neighborhood of about 8 to 12 bucks. Um, and so as I say, I'm because of the deal sweetheart of the deal that I got through liquor lineup in North Las Vegas on Losi Road, I've been able to get some of these beers, and I have to admit, some of these beers that you know are extra money, they're worth it. They really are. I mean, I'm seeing why they uh, they cost more because a lot of those beers really, really deserve it, and a lot of them don't. But this one, I have no idea what the normal price tag is, but this one definitely deserves high marks. It deserves a you know it makes sense that you would pay more for this beer. This is actual craft beer. This is where someone has sat down and done their homework and tried a few things out and didn't just, you know, give the first recipe the seal of approval, but really, really did their science and their homework in order to understand beer. And this is a great beer. As I said, I'll be giving this beer a 4.75 when I put it into Untappd, and I think it definitely deserves it. Well, guys, if you like this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, drink good beer and don't break the bank doing it. Cheers.